What's going on, everybody? This is Coach David Peavy, and you are watching The Sideline Show.
Everybody, listen up!
It's The Sideline Show.
Long go, rebound box, back out to Allen, his three-pointer, bang! Everybody's ready to go. He's ready to go. I'm ready to go, and you're ready to go.
Introducing now the host of The Sideline Show, Jackson Prince.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? You are watching The Sideline Show. I am your host, Jackson Prince. And today, man, I've got probably my favorite guest that I've had on the entire show. This guy coached me to a lot of wins, coached a lot of other players to a lot of wins, pros, bunch of D1 college guys. And, man, this is one of the dudes in my circle of five that I trust with my own life. So I want to introduce my guest for today, Coach David Peavy. What's up, man?
What's happening, my brother?
I
appreciate you
man.
having me, man.
I appreciate you doing this, man. We've been talking about it. I told you I was going to do the podcast, a while back. Mm-hmm. And, man, you always supported it, and I always told you I'm going to have you on, so here we go, man.
Man, you just said some great things about me, and it is no secret around here that Jackson Prince is my favorite player of all time. It still is the truth until somebody I can say something until I can say that about somebody else.
Yeah.
And I've coached my own kids. I've coached DJ Peavy and Micah Peavy and Anthony Black and now Beckham Black. And to this day, because of who you are and how you do what you do, you're just a pleasure to be around and definitely a pleasure to coach.
Man, I appreciate that, Coach. Anytime I hear you say that, I'm always thinking to myself, like, Peavy's tripping.
Oh, man.
Peavy's tripping, man. This is seriously though. I mean, this is my guy right here, and man, it was a real blessing to play for you.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
A lot of ups, a lot of downs,
yeah.
but man, it was one hell of a journey that I think went by too fast.
It goes by fast, but it probably goes at the right speed.
Yeah.
When you look back on it, a lot of great things happened while you were here, and I got to tell you, a lot of it is because of what you brought to the table and what you brought to the program. But man, it's and you're still doing it, you know, even though you're gone, you're still, what you brought to the table and what you brought to this program is still your huge influence on what we do and these young men in this program.
Man, I appreciate you saying that, Coach. I try to stay around as much as I can and talk to these younger guys just because, I left Duncanville even before you got here.
Right.
Got here in 5th grade. It was Coach Chisholm was the coach here. Mm-hmm. Grew up loving Duncanville basketball. And that was before all the state championships and all the success that we had. I didn't know.
Yeah.
You came here and I was just like, all right, this big bald dude, like what are we like what are we working with?
Right.
And you had that team with Ram and Dame and Luna and Micah and just JB, like all these players that I've always looked up to. What was that first year like?
It was fun, man. It was definitely a challenge, but it was a fun challenge. Not the whole time. Mm-hmm. I remember I walked in the door in the spring and sat everybody down. And at the time it was JB, it was Keon Hoskins, it was Miles Bennett, in that group, Mitchell, just some really, really good kids, but I didn't know them, I didn't know anything about them. And I set them up by asking them what their goals were, what they wanted for the team. And I knew what their answers would be. Mm-hmm. Everybody, well, we want to win. We want to play real fast. I said, okay, well, we'll get started tomorrow. And when I came in, we just ran and ran and ran. And guys were looking at me crazy. They weren't very happy, but they were a lot tougher than I expected.
Yeah.
And then we started to play a little bit, and they played. The first thing I've got to instill in my program is hard work and flying around.
Yeah.
That is a staple of what we do. And after watching them play for a couple of days, I mean, I knew first day or two, they're going to go really hard. They're trying to impress the new coach.
Right.
But when I saw this is what they do, I said, okay, we're further along in this process than I expected. Because that's usually something that takes a minute of teaching kids how to play really hard. But Coach Chisholm, and now that I know Coach Chisholm and I've played against his teams, I realize now that's just what he does.
Yeah.
His
Really
guys,
good
his
at it.
teams play really, really hard. I had to back these guys up a little bit.
Really?
You know, I had to teach them how to play that hard and smart.
Yeah.
How not to overrun, how not to fake hustle, that type of thing. And then we started the next fall. And then Micah got to come in, you know, because he had to finish his sophomore year in Houston, finish school. And then when he came in, we got rolling. And then Derek Luna moved in. I think he moved before Ramsey.
Yeah.
And then Jemias Ramsey, who I had known for a few years.
Right.
Through
Well,
the
he played with hard work.
He
and
played with
Micah.
hard
Yeah.
work. He played in the summer, and I knew him, and he went from IMG to Oak Hill, and it was crazy that his dad reached out and said, "Hey, Ramsey wants to come back home," and I said, "Okay, cool. Like, what are we talking about?" I said, well, you know, he's got to live in our attendance zone. And he said, well, we got a house. We moved into the attendance zone. And I was like, we just hit the lottery.
Easy. Yeah.
You know, if it works, if it happens. And it happened. I mean, a couple of weeks, and I don't even know if a week went by, and he was checking into school, and that was just completely unexpected. So then, you know, we had the core group of guys that we had. Of course, Micah came with me. Then Ramsey and Luna both moved in at about the same time. And Luna moved from the Valley.
Right.
And his mom worked for like a department store, J.C. Penney's or something like that. One of those. And she got transferred to open up a new store out here. And so he fell on our lap. And he could play. You know, he was a good player. Fit the things that I do. He was a gym rat. So then we got going. But it wasn't easy selling. You know, you had a very, very talented guy like Jemias Ramsey. You had a very, very talented guy in Micah Peavy. They got along off the court. But it was like a power struggle, you know, somewhat on the court. You know, it was Ramsey's senior year. He had some goals. I think he committed to Texas Tech fairly early. And, you know, it was kind of like he was doing things to try to get himself ready for Texas Tech.
Right.
And he was kind of doing his own thing. And Micah, being Micah, who grew up a coach's kid his whole life, he was doing things more like I needed him to do. And the problem was half the team was following Ramsey, half the team was following Micah.
Yeah.
And because of it, we weren't on the same page. We were talented, we played hard, but we weren't on the same page. And we started the season off we were bumping our heads.
7-7.
We started off 7-7.
Yeah.
And I remember getting to about maybe 5-5 or 6-6, and we were in the Mansfield tournament. We lost to Mansfield High School.
Did Caden Archie play for that team?
No.
Or was he gone?
He was gone.
Dang,
Like,
okay.
no, they didn't have
Yeah.
enough talent to beat us.
Right.
And they beat us.
Yeah.
And we lost to a Hutch team who, I mean, they shouldn't be in the same gym with us. And I just saw the wheels falling off. And I just remember having a conversation with Pastor Peavy, who you know very well, and who is a mentor of mine, and he's very close to our program and to me. And I just asked him, I said, hey, man, am I in trouble? And he just kind of like, what are you talking about? I said, man, we're not supposed to be losing like this. Is my job in jeopardy? And he just kind of chuckled. He said, Coach, nobody cares. Nobody cares about this. Like, one, we're still in football.
Right.
We're still in football right now. Nobody's even paying attention. He said, but you better fix it. If you don't fix it, then, but right now, nobody cares what you're doing. They just care about what you do at the end. I've told this story before. I had to call Jemias in and have a good talking to him and just say, hey, man, this is not working out. You're not buying in to anything we're doing. This has turned into a one-way street. You're here trying to benefit from us, but you're not bringing us anything in return. So I just basically said, before this gets bad, let's go ahead and part ways.
Yeah.
And I just felt like he's fine. The kid is fine.
Yeah.
Him not playing the rest of his senior year is not going to kill him.
Yeah.
He's going to go have a scholarship. He can continue to work on his game. I will be here for him in that. But as a program, as a team, we have to move on without him.
Right.
And he was kind of shocked by that. And when I saw that he was shocked, I thought I was really bailing him out.
Yeah.
The way his attitude was at that time and the way he was responding to me, I felt like he just didn't want to quit.
Yeah.
But he wasn't really here. So I thought I was going to let him off the hook by just saying, hey, let's part ways. And then I won't say anything bad when these college coaches call, when these scouts or whatever call. Well, I have a great story for them. I'm not going to kill you.
Yeah.
And when I saw he was shocked, I just said, hey, man, well, if that's not what you want, then I expect you to buy in completely. And if you don't, then you got to go.
Right.
And from that point on, at that time we were 7-7. The next day he came in and it was a completely different realm, and our team changed overnight, and we went on to win 25 in a row to win a state championship. And the things that we had to go through in that season just really set the foundation for who we are now. I had never won a state championship.
Right.
We've been really good. The teams I've coached had been really good. We've gone to regionals, I think 3 or 4 times in my career, but just never got over the hump. And I learned that year what it took and what it should look like to do the things that we have done since then.
Yeah.
So that first year, once it was over with, look back and see how much fun it was. And it was just a great group of kids that still come around, I still talk to. And they take a lot of pride in who we are as a program because of the things that they did.
Yeah. I think it says a lot that you got guys like me and CJ Ford and Keon when he can. And like, you got all these guys coming back. Like Zurich was just up here working out.
Right.
You got Micah up here. I mean, everyone comes back.
Everybody.
Everybody comes back.
Right.
I think that alone says enough about what this place actually is.
Well, I mean, I think when you put in as much as you put in, to be a player here, you put a lot. You leave a lot on that court.
Yeah.
We're very demanding. We hold we hold everyone super accountable. And we teach everyone to hold themselves accountable and to hold their teammates accountable. And then, when you put so much into something, you own it.
Right.
You have a piece of that. And then I think once guys get through the initial, man, this dude is crazy, these coaches are crazy, then they realize, man, they really love us as much. When we hold them accountable and we don't let them get away with anything, on the court, off the court, behavior, how they treat people. If you're not a good person, you're not going to make it in this program. You got to be a good person. You have to work extremely hard. And I just think that those are the things that are going to make everyone around here successful moving forward. As you know, this basketball stuff doesn't last very long.
Man.
You know, if you have a long career, if you have a great career, that means you get to play until you're 30.
Right.
You know, and then
you got 50 years.
Hopefully, you know, but it happens, you know, and when you're a kid, you think, man, if I play till 30, that's a long time. But really, you know, you're going to be.
Because it goes faster and faster as you get older.
And then once you get out of this comfort and the security of high school and you go out into that real world and you see how brutal it is, then you understand why we do the things that we do.
Man, I was telling people this and talking about the coaching staff caring about the kids. Like, y'all got things out of me that I knew I had in me, but I didn't know how to get that out. So, like, y'all got that out of me. And after being at college for a year, I appreciate that piece of it so much more. Like, I appreciated it when I was here, and you knew that. But, like, now, like you said, that I've been out in that real world and I see what it looks like now, I'm like, okay, Peavy was right, as usual. And it's like, that's another thing, too. Everyone's like, man, just Peavy. Players who are currently in the program come to me and they're like, Jack, man, like, I don't know how to make Coach Peavy happy. Like, I want to play here. I really want to, you know, be on the court and be one of those impact players. How do I do it? How did you do it? So, like, talk about how I went from everyone around here, no one ever thinking I was going to get to play, to being a solid impact player for the team.
What you did is you bought into and understood the progression of development. You know, development is a progression,
right,
but it's really buying into it and understanding. And it was hard, and it always is.
Yeah, it was hard.
It always is, but you bought into it quicker than most. That's why you had the success that you did.
Yeah.
And a lot of y'all don't realize, man, our coaches here are gym rats. Our coaches are gym rats.
Always.
I've been very fortunate. I feel like I've had the best coaches in America as my assistant coaches. They love it. They live it, and we meet all the time. And I remember having a few meetings where you were the main topic, and arguing with Coach Moore, Daniel Moore, who has moved on, and now he is the new coach at Summer Creek,
right,
in Houston. And him saying, Coach, why are you doing that to that kid? And I said, what are you talking about, D. Moore? What do you mean? Well, I mean, you and this is when, okay, people around here know, but a lot of people don't. You were not allowed to step foot inside the 3-point line.
The rules that you had for me, and I'll let you get back to that in a second, but it's like freshman year, I was on JV. Ford had his rules. It was like not a lot of dribbling, just like you got like 2, but if you ain't got a shot, just get off of it. Let Ev and Ra and those guys go play. Sophomore year, my first full year on varsity, because I played the back half of the year, my freshman year on varsity. But then came sophomore year, full first year, playing behind Zurich, all those guys. And you're like, if you get to play, you're not allowed to go inside the 3-point line. And I'm like, damn. Yeah. That's tough, but okay.
Right.
If I want to play here, which I do,
right,
it was tough. And I almost thought about, I did think about transferring the sophomore year. And I go and I have a conversation with my dad. And and he's talking to me like any parent would. He's like, man, well, I want to see you score the ball. Like, I want to see you play. Like, I want to see you do what I know you can do. And I go, man, I want to do that too, but I want to win. And I want to leave here being the winningest player. That's what I want. And he goes, well, all right, so what are you going to do? Are you going to leave and go be a 1,500-point scorer, or are you going to stay here? And I said, man, I trust Peavy. Like, he obviously knows the winning formula. I'm going to stay. And he's like, all right, you just said that, so you're not allowed to leave. No matter what happens, you're not leaving.
Good old Joe.
You're staying here, and I'm not going in that coach's office, is what he said. He never came to the coach's office, did he? Not once. He ever call you after a game?
Never.
Okay. So, I mean, he was just like, you want to be a man so much. If you got a problem with Coach Peavy, you better go tell him. And you need to sit down in his office and have a discussion with him.
Well, this is what people don't realize. I talk about this a lot, the two-way street. It's a two-way street. First of all, tell me what your goals are.
Right.
You're gonna know my goals because we're gonna talk about it constantly.
Yeah.
We have to win. There are some non-negotiables. We have to win, and we have to hang up banners. So, you and everyone else, you want to be a Division I player. You want to be a Division I player. So I'm looking at you, and I'm like, well, first of all, this is an elite program.
Right.
It's an elite program. I'm going to run it as such, and I'm going to run it a way it would look in college. Here, everybody doesn't get to do everything.
Right.
So you just mentioned some teammates that you played with. Why would I let Jackson Prince wiggle, play with the basketball, when I've got 4, 5, 6, 7 guys who are better at doing that than you?
I explain the same thing to everyone else.
Yeah. And you are an elite catch and shoot shooter. Why don't you get in a spot where guys can wiggle, draw defense, kick it to you, and you get to do your job? So we're real big around here about doing your job. And I had to break some of your habits. You were a basketball player. You played, you hooped, but you want to be a Division I player.
Right.
And my thing is, and you want to play for us.
Right.
So it was like, well, Jackson, I can't let you do those things and play for us.
Right.
I can't let you do those things and think you got a chance to play somewhere else at a higher level. So I had to break you. I had to break your habits. And then once you bought completely into it, and I told you this, and I tell everybody this, do what I ask you to do. Once you make it a habit, then I will add to it. And you did it quicker than most.
Yeah.
And you had way more restrictions
Right.
than most.
Yeah.
You know, not put you
Dribble the ball. I went a whole year.
Yeah.
Every time live, I
Right.
dribbled like 3 times a practice.
Right.
It-
Right. And I had to show you,
I was like, oh my God.
Klay
Peavy.
Thompson.
Yeah.
Not dribbling.
Yeah.
And scoring.
That was one of the moments when
Right.
I saw he had like 60 on 11 dribbles. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, like
He did his job.
I can do that.
He did his job.
And then I was like, all right, maybe Peavy knows what he's talking about. Let me just buy in. And at the end of the day, what I knew and what so many other people struggle to realize is like, it's your decision. You gonna play who you want to play.
And
the
I'm
coaching
gonna
staff is gonna play that.
And I'm gonna play who I trust.
Right.
And if I can't trust you to do what I'm asking you to do, and then it went from, okay, now you can jab.
Yeah.
You can jab and pull back
Yeah.
for your jumper. Then it became runners and floaters.
Yeah.
You can shot fake and get by, and you don't have time to get your feet set to get
Right.
that jumper off again.
Right.
You know, you were slow
Slow,
and short.
yeah. Yes.
You know, you weren't you were a lot smaller than you are now. You were a lot slower than you are now.
Yeah.
And it took you time to get that shot off, especially off the dribble.
Right.
So it went from shot fake, get by your man to a runner or to a quick floater. And then for your senior year, it was going to be, okay, I trust you.
Yeah.
Go hoop. And then you're going to know what it is. And I remember your sophomore year, how many times you got your shot blocked?
maybe once a practice.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was
quite a bit.
And then junior year,
I never got it.
never. And
Ever.
it was that's when it was either then or maybe the fall of your senior year when Chris Beard came in and watched you put on a show.
Yeah.
Watched you put on a show, and it was like, P, do you think? I'm like, do I think what? I'm like, Beard, he's doing it here.
Yeah.
He's done it here. Talk about a guy who had to wait his turn, a guy who had super restrictions, a guy, you know, I like Jack, we used to joke with you all the time, the things you did at Duncanville. It's like, you know, I remember Micah telling me one day, I think we went out to eat or something, and he just, it was like a light bulb came on. He goes, Dad, you realize Jackson's the first white player I've ever played with? I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, I've never had a white teammate. And I'm like, wait a minute. And I'm thinking Micah played at Decaney,
Right.
his freshman and sophomore year.
Yeah.
Not one. Okay, no, that's not. Jackson is the first non-black player.
Right.
So then Luna moved in.
Yeah.
But you were here first.
Right.
So then that's when I was like, wow. And then it just made me think, dang, Jackson's doing this. He's the only white kid in our program, in the program.
Yeah.
And
Only white person.
only white person.
Yeah. Adults too. Like,
Adults, at the
yeah.
time. Yeah.
Man, that was. I tell people this, and no one wants to believe me, but it's like that was the hardest thing I ever done. Was going 4 years and being the only white dude in the program
The entire time.
and the entire time. Never once was there even a white. If you hired a white coach, I joke about this. Luster. I was like, he hired him just because he misses me.
Jackson, you might be right. Jackson, you might be right.
But man, because I remember Britt was like, yeah, he hired a white coach. I was like, oh, that's sweet.
Look at here.
No, that's my guy, man. But dog, it was so difficult. But I'm looking at the roster. I'm not a stupid guy. I'm looking at him like, he's above me, he's above me, he's above me. Damn. If I don't start playing like coach wants me to, I'm never gonna play here.
That's the beauty of like trying to tell people you don't even have to be a better basketball player. You have to do your job better than the next. You know, because you know if you look at you and Ra.
Yeah.
You know, and
Yeah.
I used to tell you this all the time. If y'all go play one-on-one right now,
Ra's gonna beat me.
He's gonna beat you, probably.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
well, probably. And you know, but you have a job, and if you get really, really good at your job, and you don't kill us on defense,
Right.
I can play you.
Yeah.
I can play you. And you got pretty good at defending to where it didn't hurt us. You know.
Can you repeat that one more time?
You did pretty good at defending where it didn't
Okay.
hurt us. And we scrimmage enough that our guys get really good at understanding strengths and weaknesses of their teammates on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
So you understood angles. You knew you did everything right. You jumped to the ball. You know, you had to.
Yeah.
You know,
I will
to.
say a part of that started in middle school when I was playing for Ford.
Right.
Because Ford was big on defense and like preaching all that.
Right.
Now, I always heard that I sucked at defense, so I was just like, all right, let me just try to figure it out. But when I got up here, it was like, okay, pick the best player that I can almost guard. At first, it was like Ra and Ev, and then it was like Eric. And then junior year when AB was here, I don't know if you were there for that day or if you didn't hear me or what, but someone said I got AB, and I was like, no, like I'm guarding AB full court. And they were all just like, everyone, like Ron, Ash, like they're all looking at me like, bro, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, y'all move out the way. I need to work on something. I'm guarding AB full court, 94 feet. That was, to date, that might be my best defensive day. When I was just like, I'm just gonna try.
Yeah.
And I mean, from there it was just like always trying to guard people who I knew were better than me, better than my defense at their offense.
Right.
And now, I mean, I can stay in front of dudes.
Well, I mean, you played high school with pros.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And you didn't
That
know it at
helped.
the time. You
Yeah.
know? You didn't know. You didn't know that, man, I'm guarding AB. He's the number 6 pick. I'm guarding Ron. I'm on the court with
Yeah.
Ron. He's got a chance to be a lottery.
Yeah.
Jemias. Were
Right.
you here? Yeah, you were here.
I wasn't here.
Oh,
I
you
was
were
in
here the
8th
year
grade.
after. That's
yeah.
right. That's right.
Yeah, but I scrimmaged with y'all,
Right.
and I had to guard Jemias a few plays.
I mean, it's just it's some really high level dudes.
Yeah.
Zerg Phelps got a chance to be a pro. Micah Peavy got a chance to be a pro.
Zerg was one of them dudes that I just couldn't figure out, man.
He's
So like, he's hard to guard.
old
man.
school.
Yeah,
Old school. Got an old school game. Got some
he's smooth,
sneaky
too.
pop to him.
Super smooth.
Yeah, smooth.
Yeah, I never figured him out.
You got some sneaky strength to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. But I think so talking about something similar but a little different. From the outside looking in, everyone swears up and down David Peavy is the biggest cheater in all of high school basketball. He's a snake, and he's recruiting kids from out of state and bringing them here like it's a prep school, and you know what they say.
I hear it all the time.
So, what's your response?
To people I care, you know.
Yeah, to do both. People you care, and then just whoever.
You know, if it's just nonsense, like people who have no audience, I don't say a word.
Right.
There's nothing to say.
Yeah.
But you know, I hear this from coaches.
Mm-hmm.
No, you know what? My biggest argument, I'll hear it from, let's say it's a high level player's parent.
Yeah.
Oh, you over there recruiting. I said, really? I said, did I call you? And they stopped,
Yeah.
and they think, well, I said, well, dang, your kid is one of the best players around here.
You think I wouldn't try to get you?
I said, so I didn't call you. And they kind of just stopped. I said, I haven't called. Do I get calls? All the time. Do I get emails? If I open my emails right now, you would see there's kids from Africa, from France, from all over the world.
That's crazy.
Sending me videos, wanting to come here. One, they do think it's a prep school because of our schedule. And then it's like, then I've got to explain to people, hold on, like this is Dallas, Texas. People move to Dallas.
Right.
This is Duncanville High School, which has 4,700 students. We have a lot of students. These 4,700 kids did not all grow up together and been in the same place. They come and they go. So now, I've had kids move from out of state. Ashton Hardaway.
Yeah.
Well, when his mom decides she's moving to Dallas, of course they look around and see, okay, where
Where
I
am I
want
going
to
to
put
send my kid? Right.
Oh, I've heard some crazy things about
This is my response, because the whole AB thing went down, and we'll talk about it in a second, but like everyone's like, oh, well, you know, y'all deserve to get that ring taken away and this and that, you know, AB, you know, y'all are cheating and AB, yada, yada, yada. And I go, hold on, bro. Ashton came here with no problems. KJ Lewis came here with no problems. So don't make it seem like we went and got this high level. Even if we did recruit, quote unquote recruit, even if we did, one, you're dating his mom, for one. Two,
living with.
not
dating.
Like living
it's my
with.
fiance.
Right. That's yeah. Like, and that's what I'm telling people.
No, we've been together for 5 years. We've been together since he was in the 8th grade.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm like telling
been
these dudes.
living together for 3 years at that time, and we moved 5 minutes from where I work every day instead of me driving 30 minutes.
And that's what I tell people.
Right.
This is what I'm telling my teammates at Texas. This is locker room conversation. This is post-game conversation. We talking about Duncanville. And it's like, and I tell them that, and then I go, if the UIL was going to get us on a dude like Ashton, who moved from California. I can see how that's like, whatever.
But why? I mean, this is my question on that. Why would you move from California to Duncanville? So you're gonna bypass Sierra Canyon,
Right.
You're gonna bypass Corona Centennial,
AZ Compass.
I mean, what is like? What I mean, my whole thing is why can't people move in America?
Right. Guys, I'm getting them fired up for you.
Why can't you move? It doesn't make sense. To me, it's like people can move. They do it every single day. But it's an issue, and this is my argument to that. Yes. It's a big deal because they are good basketball players.
Right.
But if a good basketball player is going to move, why can't, just like anything else, you look at the area you want to move to. And then a lot of factors go into it. A lot of factors. But if my son's a really good football player, a really good basketball player, if I'm moving, then I'm going to try to put my kid in a situation where he's going to enjoy what he's doing and maybe get better at it.
Even that cost of living here versus cost of living in Coppell is completely different.
Yeah.
Like as a parent, if you're moving from out of state and you're going to move to Dallas, I mean, maybe not, depending on what you're looking for. Like maybe this is the side of town that you're looking for cost of living. And that's just generally speaking. But then, yeah, and we've had kids move from out of state to try to come here. They'll be here a week. In my 4 years, I had 5 dudes who were here for 2 weeks. Like at different times. We're here for 2 weeks and left. Like, dudes from out of state.
It's
And no one's talking about them because, I mean, no shots fired at them, but they just weren't that good of basketball players.
Yeah. Here's the deal, Jack. And I know it. If we weren't winning, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Right.
I mean, we have had really good players leave here.
Right.
And they went other places. Nothing was said about it.
Right.
And I have my theories on other things. Okay. That we don't need to get super controversial.
Nah.
But it is what it is. I mean, and I was told by a lot of people that I respect, once we started winning, here they come.
Yeah.
Like as far as the people who are going to come after me.
Well, you're not doing it right if you're not getting hated on.
Well, I mean, and that's just like you just said. So you're in the locker room at the University of Texas, and y'all are talking about Duncanville.
Thank you. With other Division I players, guys who got chance to be pros, and they're hating on me because I went to Duncanville.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, then here's my other argument is, if we were recruiting players, how did I get to play? Because in all honesty, sophomore, junior year, I wasn't that great of a basketball player.
Yeah.
I was the best shooter in America, in my opinion. Best shooter in America, but we had guys who were better basketball players than me. Peavy could have gotten guys who were better basketball players than me.
Oh man.
So
Jack, Jack, if I went and recruited,
I would have never touched the court here.
if I went and recruited, this thing would be crazy.
Yeah.
It would be insane.
Coach,
It would be
I
insane.
already know.
It would be insane.
Like, I'm just glad you didn't. You know what I mean? Like, because I got to play. So, I don't know, man. But
it is what it is, man.
yeah, it is what it. People are gonna talk,
Right.
And
Right.
all that. But
I'm glad we've had enough success. It's funny, man. When I first got here, and Kevin Woods came with me.
Yeah.
he was my assistant that came with me, and we were living together, had an apartment together, and we were in the living room one time eating dinner and just talking. I said, man, I want to get so good. I want to get so good that we get investigated. and after everything went down, he just called me one day. He's no longer my assistant. He called and he laughed and he said, hey man, remember this conversation? I had forgot. And then when he said it, I'm like, oh, He said, man, watch
Careful what you wish
careful
for.
what you wish for. And it's like, wow, that's crazy. But,
Yeah.
you know, and the thing is, I had been coaching since 96.
Right.
Had never, ever had any dealings with anybody, DECs, UILs. I had gone to a couple DECs because, I mean, it's hard not to coach for as long as I have. And every DEC I've ever gone to, it went in our favor unanimously. And then for things to go down with my stepson,
Yeah.
you know, with the way it did. But, you know, I'm glad we're over. We're done with it.
For sure.
And I'm glad, you know, as much as it hurt everybody who was involved, everybody's made it out.
Yeah.
You know, Anthony Black is now in the
He's
NBA.
in the league, man.
Ron
Like, he's
Holland,
fine.
Ron Holland's going to be in the NBA. KJ
KJ.
is going to be. You know, it's just, and our program we're about to be back where we were.
Yeah.
You know, it is the initial, you know, punch to the gut is you know, we're good.
Yeah.
We're good, and hopefully, you know, and it was hurtful at first when you talk about, you know, people saying this and saying that, and then I just got to remember, you know, if they're not, then we're not relevant. You
Right.
know, we're not relevant. It's good to be relevant.
For sure.
Means we're people know about us.
And I do this personal branding stuff and social media stuff now, which I was kind of surprised when you fully endorsed it at first. But,
Why?
well, as much as you're about succeeding in life, I always saw you until that moment. This conversation I'm about to tell you about. Until that moment, I was like, he's a basketball guy, and he's, you know, got to go win in basketball. I didn't know when you said win, it was in life.
Right.
Until, this is the best conversation I've ever had with a coach. Come in your office, you called me in there, and you go, Jack, what do you want out of this thing? And I'm like, well, I want to win state championship. And you're like, no, like out of life. And I was like, well, you know, I'd like to come back and be, you know, maybe be a high school coach or a college coach. And you're like, you go, Jack, shut the fuck up. And I just start laughing. I'm like, dang, coach, what's up? And you go, why climb the ladder when you can own it? Number one quote anyone has ever said to me ever. Literally, like, it's gotten to the point where I start to think I'm crazy because I just replay that conversation in my head anytime I like feel like I'm not doing enough, which is all the time. But I'm always just like, man, own it. Just own everything that you're doing. And now I think a lot bigger, in part because of that conversation and in part because I helped hang up those banners in there.
Right. So my ultimate goal is to teach the people in my program how to create habits necessary to be successful. Now, to win championships, there are certain things you got to do. Got to work really hard. You got to do this. You got to do that. And it has to become a habit. And I feel like once you do those things to be able to hang up those banners, then you're not going to lose that. You're going to still have that in you. Now you have to learn how to apply that to the next thing that you're going to do in life.
Yeah.
So I've always asked, I used to do it as a group. I'd bring my teams together and sit them down. What do you want? What do you want to be? What do you want to be? What do you want to be? And one answer I got that stuck with me, that made me feel like, oh, nah, that's for all of my guys. And I was in Austin, Aikens High School. I think it was Elias. I think that's the kid. And I said, and I'm going around, what do you want to be? And guys, I want to be a doctor. I'm like, bro, you got a 2.4.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I want to be this. I'm like, well, then, okay. Luckily, you're just a freshman. We got to start over, and we got to do this. We got to do that. I want to, you know, and then I get to this kid, and he goes, I said, what do you want to be? He goes, Coach, I want to be a boss. I said, whoa, what do you mean? He said, I don't know what I want to be, but I know I want to be the boss.
Yeah.
I said, man, that is what I'm talking about.
That's a good answer.
But then when I met you, this is no BS. You took it to another level. And so I've had a few, you know, I've been doing this a long time. I've had some brilliant kids. You know, when I first met Eric Demings, I said, man, that he got a chance to be the president. You know, when I met him in the 8th grade, and I watched him give a speech, a 20-minute speech to his whole class in the 8th grade. And I'm like, whoa, this kid is special. He's a special dude. Then I got to know you. And that's when I called you in. Mm-hmm. And then you don't even know this. I remember being at home, getting the call from Chris Beard. And he said, Coach, I'm going to offer Jackson Prince to be a preferred walk-on. And then I called you.
Yeah.
And I just started crying because I knew. I'm like, Jackson, do you understand what this means? Like, bro, you're going to be a billionaire. Like, for real. The person you are, the work ethic, the personality, the understanding. Like, man, sometimes you come in here and you talk to me about money.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have no clue. And one of these days, for real, I'm going to pull out a notepad and I'm going to need to borrow you for probably a week and take notes and really learn.
A lot of dudes smarter than me, P.
I got to start somewhere. Like right now, to me, the conversations I've had with you as an 18-year-old and a 19-year-old and soon to be 20. Are you 20 yet?
I'm 20. About to be 21 in September.
Okay. I'm like, all right, you're way.
Yeah.
What I mean, and I've said this my whole life, and I gotta quit now. I gotta stop. Like, I'm just a basketball coach. Well, you know, I'm 51. I got a lot of life to live. I better start figuring some things out. And I've got people like you in my life. And what's exciting for me is you're about to have people in your life that, you know, this is what this is all about. So when I brought you in the office to talk to you, I'm like, Jackson, I'm a basketball coach. I love what I do. I love the impact I can make. Right now, I'm in a different place in my career where I feel like my biggest, the best thing I can do is help train other coaches to help more kids. And now it's like you came in like, Jackson, I think you can be valuable as a basketball coach, but you know, like you could do that as an AAU coach. You can do what you're doing now. You're always welcome here.
Yeah.
You know, you walk in my practice right now and you sit on the sideline, and when guys come to the sideline, you got something encouraging to say, or you can explain it to them a different way than I just did. You come back after practice and I see you in the locker room sitting with a kid, and you know, he's got his hands, you got his head in his hands, like, man, what am I doing? And you're there for him because you went through it. So you have value in that, but there's way more out there for you because of your skill set. And, you know, so I'm glad, and you've told me this before, you know, what you just said, but I tell coaches this, I believe it. I mean, I just know it. To me, I know it to be true. You're going to be a billionaire just because, you know, you've got it.
Man, that's the single, like, best compliment. Because it's like, I don't know, man. I've always, my pops told me this when I was little. And I remember 3rd grade math, I come home, got this assignment. And I asked him to check it. And he tears up the paper. And I'm like crying. I'm like, Dad, why'd you do that? Like, that's my math homework. And he goes, you got 2 questions wrong and your pencil wasn't sharp. If you're going to put our last name on something, it better be the best. What you said that day and what he told me that day are the 2 quotes that I live by every single day. That's why I said I wasn't going to start the podcast until I got it together. Like, that's why I'm just so bought in. And now, because I'm at the point where we won so much here, winning feels like it's not enough sometimes. And that's why I get in those moments where I like second guess myself, because it's like I get these wins and then it's just not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because I was always hungry after we won state.
Right. I mean, winning is awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but it's a byproduct.
Yeah.
You know, it's what comes because of the habits. You know, to be honest with you, man, at the end, I hope we win.
Yeah.
You know, and why I want to win so much, this is truth, because I know what it will do and how it will change the lives of the people who did it.
Yeah.
You will always be able to say you're a state champion and national champion. You will always be able to say that. And they can't take that away from you. You won those games. You did what you did. And because of it, it's going to open doors. It's going to start big time conversations with big time people, because y'all have something in common. You know, people who do things are winners. Right. They have won. And you're in that category. And I know that because of that, it has opened doors. I mean, being at Dave & Buster's the night of winning a state championship and listening to Keon hang up his phone and say, Coach, I just got a scholarship. Well, it happened because we just won. Yeah, you know, and I know, man, that just changed that kid's life. You know, that just changed his life. Would he have gone to college? Probably. He probably would have. Yeah. He was in a situation where his family could have done that. Well, we have way more that have to get that scholarship. Right. And I know that us doing what we do collectively is going to be able to help each individual in a way that they're getting opportunities that they wouldn't have. That's why it means so much to me. Yeah. You know, and telling kids, man, you will always be a champion. And never run from that, you know, always use that, and you've earned the right. You know, you've created those habits to be able to say that. Yeah. You know,
well, man, you definitely done that for me. Definitely expanded my thinking, taught me how to win. I mean, I couldn't thank God more for my time here, being your player and getting the relationship with you and all the other coaches. Like, man, I mean, these were 4 of the best years of my life. So I appreciate you for doing that, man.
Well, I've told you this, and someday you're going to realize, I mean, as much as you think I've done for you, I promise you've done just as much, if not more, for me. For real. Man.
It means a lot.
Yeah. I mean, you continue to, you know, it is talking to kids about academics, talking to kids about Jackson, you were slow.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
like
I was.
And you never missed a time. Not once. Not once. So when I look at a kid who's faster, who's more athletic, and they don't make a time, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Yes, I know it's hard. I had to do it. But I had Jackson Prince.
Yeah.
He made that time.
Yeah.
A kid that wasn't as athletic, wasn't as fast, he made that time. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
So Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, your name is going, as long as I'm here,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to have a bunch of kids probably hate you. You know, they're going to hate you because they got to keep hearing your name. And we see it. I see it. You know, kids rolling their eyes every time I say your name until they get to meet you, till they get to spend some time with you and they understand, okay. And then I see differences in kids after they do get to hang out with you and talk with you.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah, man. Well, dog, you know, we could go for hours.
Why not?
Go for hours.
Why
yeah.
not?
Man, I'm definitely gonna have you on here again, probably soon. So I really, really appreciate you doing this, and man, thank you for everything that you've done, man.
Well, thank
for
you.
me and everyone else.
And I'm ready whenever you are, man.
Let's do it,
you
man.
know,
Awesome.
I'm never gonna say no.
Awesome.
All
My man. Well, to everyone watching and listening on various platforms, this is my man, Coach David Peavy. Guy has absolutely changed my life. Really, really good friend of mine now, and we'll continue talking, and I'll keep showing clips and everything of him to you guys. And but you know, definitely stay tapped in with him. Stay tapped into Duncanville. They got a lot more wins that they're about to go get. So with that being said, whether you're on the court or you're on the sideline, go with God and always do your best. Peace.